Okay guys, hello, welcome back. So this is I guess gonna be kind of my second video in my whole I have ADHD little mini series here. So I just went for a walk to kind of get some energy out of my system. And so we are back. Sorry, I'm wobbling the camera everywhere. Okay. I got this. All right, so I want to share with you a little bit about how I have set up specifically my creative areas in the house at this point. So I'm gonna flip the camera around and kind of, this is my room. It's a train wreck right now. All of this stuff, just kind of ignore this. This is where I was sort of Marie Kondoing everything last weekend, and some things still need to find a home. Live in an apartment, so nice view of a parking lot. And here's my bed, which is a mess right now. Look at this cuteness. Hello. Say hello. Little sleeping cat. And then I just have like some new towels that I washed and need to put away, and my Stitch Fix that needs to be put away. So yeah, not too much, but I did want to share with you guys, kind of what I have happening here. So, all of these are books that are like kids books that, my daughter no longer reads, but they are the ones we decided to keep. Some of them I use for the kids that I teach at school. So that's what that is. The rest of this, it used to be that I kept all of my supplies up here. And you see these bins over here, right? So I'm gonna flip you. Okay, so I used to work up here a lot at this small table. And like I said, I had all my supplies on this shelf, which kind of worked out when I was doing mostly just the jewelry making things. And you see some of those bins over here too. So I was able to lay the jewelry out on the table, work, etc., etc. But for a lot of stuff, I would use the table downstairs, and we'll take a little journey downstairs. So what that meant was that I would have to pack things up, take them downstairs, and lay them out downstairs everywhere in order to work. That's not inherently terrible, and probably a lot of people can do that. Once we get downstairs, it'll make a little more sense. But anyway, I decided to switch it all up. So I'm going to flip you guys again. Okay, so what I have now, the only things I have up here now, this is all kind of storage stuff. These are all old notebooks, extra folders, things like that. Ta-da, my little thing that I did a video on. Haven't decided what to do with that. And these are my jewelry bins. I super organized these. I haven't been making jewelry for a while because I have a ton made. This is all personal paperwork. And yeah, so it's like personal paperwork, like my car information, all of that. So what I've done, this is all packing things. Okay, just packing things, and they're all organized in a way that makes sense to me. So when I get an order, I come over here and I have everybody neatly organized in these bins. So when someone places an order on Etsy, right, I can just go in here, and I know one has earrings, several have earrings, bookmarks, etc. Right? And so this is all junk that needs to be taken apart or decided what to do with. So ignore that. And then I also have a basket of the fair trade items. Now, I don't have fair trade items listed on Etsy. That's a whole other story for another day. And then over here in this corner, I have other items. I have incense items that I sell, etc. These are like all of the jewelry display things for craft shows, stuff like that. So then in one of my closets, I also have some jewelry displays for craft shows, things like that. I haven't done in a couple of years simply because my work schedule didn't allow for it. And then of course there was the pandemic, so there were no craft shows. And again, I was working weekends, but all of those things are in a place where they make sense. It's not stuff that I need on a regular basis. So I have it stacked to where it needs to be stacked. As far as how everything looks up here, I do struggle with that. And, I am working on purchasing some things to kind of create cleaner lines for myself when I'm up here, so that it feels like a little bit more of a relaxing space. But I think I'm going to talk about that a little bit more when I talk about like just how I've arranged my home space, which I think is important because it's part of who I am. and everything that's part of who you are ultimately comes out in your artwork, right? So anyway, so that's what I've done up here. I have the only thing I have up here at this point, and that's just because of space reasons, are things to pack. So if somebody places an order, I come up here, I have the items here, I have the packaging things here, and then we go downstairs, and I'm gonna show you the downstairs. Okay. All right, so down here is where I do most of my work. So what I decided to do was, instead of fighting that, I was just going to embrace it. So I'm gonna flip you guys around. So right here, this is the dining room table. Now, my daughter and I live in a townhouse, so if you also live in any style of apartment, you'll know, like, this is the whole space, right? There's the kitchen. Ta-da! The camera's going in and out. So it's not like we have a separate dining room or separate rooms. It's all just one big happy room. And you can see the stuff. Now, initially, I had all of these, I guess, concerns or social constructs in my mind about, I need to clear the dining room table every day. We should be eating dinner at the dining room table. And we used to. It's just me and her. And we used to sit down every night and eat dinner together. Well, she homeschools now, so we spend a lot of time together. We also do like a lot of fun things together. Like, we hang out, we play games, we watch movies, we go places, you know, this and that. So it's okay. Like, we talk. It's not like sitting down to dinner is the only time we can talk. So usually we sit in the living room. It works for us. Maybe we watch a show. Sometimes she eats in her room and I sit down here and watch like Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, which does not really interest her, right? So that's one thing that I kind of had to let go of in my mind, of like, I'm not being a terrible parent because we don't eat dinner at the table. So if that's something you struggle with, let it go, right? I would say that create a space for yourself that can be a consistent space is so important. And I have dedicated this area as my art area at this point. And a lot of this happened last weekend when I cleared out stuff I didn't want, and I put all of my art things in a place that made sense. So let's look at the table. So this is what I've decided. So a few things that I'm just gonna keep on the table. This is my planner. I just closed it up. Usually it's open because I need to refer to it throughout the day to remember what I'm doing, but there was some bank information that I didn't want to put all over the internet, understandably. And then what I'm doing, I moved this over this morning while I was having my coffee. Big yellow canvas. This is what I'm currently working on. Right, so let me zoom this out a little. So now you can see, right, this is a pretty clear space. This is what I think I need in order to finish projects, like start a project and work on it start to finish. You can see over here, these are actually finished pieces that need to go upstairs. These are things I already listed in my Etsy shop, and they have just not quite made it upstairs. Well, this one's not. This is in the wrong pile. Still a work in progress, you guys. And this is something my daughter did, and it just has not made it where it's supposed to go either. Just started this, give me some grace. So these need to go upstairs. But other than that, I've decided that I'm going to have out whatever it is I'm working on until it is done. The supplies I need for it, etc. Because what was happening is I would have something in front of me, like this piece, for example, that I stopped working on because this is actually due next week for something I committed it to. I had this out, I was working on this. I had this out, I had started that. Oh wait, there's more. Here's another one. And what happened was I had like this on the table, and then I had these somewhere on the table where they were just in a stack in a pile on top of some other random papers and some other things, and they would disappear. Right? And then, let's get it a little, that's starting to make me dizzy. And then I would have, like, we're coming over here. These are actually items that I'm putting in an upcoming show. Not this part. So these are all things that I still need to get framed. So these were on a stack without these papers to separate them. And these were all things over here on the table that got piled up, and I was like, oh, let's have some creative time. So I started something new. Same thing happened the next day, etc. So I really think that if I can just put one thing out at a time and remember that I'm working on that thing, I can put my creative energy into it, right? It's literally a matter of, if it's not right in front of me, I'm not going to think about it. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, remember that drawing I started 3 days ago before I got busy with life? Let me get back to that and work on that. That's not how my brain functions. So this is something that I'm trying. So far, the last couple of days since I've implemented this, it has helped. Now I'm gonna share with you how I've got things organized over here. Keep in mind that I do have this stuff that's going out for a show, and this is the most organized it has been ever. So it's not all exactly where it should be, but this right now, this week, is me kind of trying to work through the process of it. So I have these bins here. This beautiful little cabinet was actually not intended for the purpose of keeping art supplies. These are 2 paintings that are going in the show. That's why they're down here. Otherwise they wouldn't normally be down here, but this way I see them. They're in my way. And I just have art supplies and things in here, right? So all of these drawers, they're organized in a way that makes sense to me. Yes, this actually makes sense to me because of what they are. And then I have like some fabric and some leftover things that I don't usually use. These are all in my papers. So these are all, this probably wouldn't make sense to other people, but these are finished things, sketchbooks, portfolio, and then blank papers. So these are all empty papers, marker paper, Bristol paper, drawing paper, etc., all the way back here. And then my cellophane to put my drawings in. This is all scrapbook paper. So this is scrapbook papers that I've created in here with alcohol inks, etc. Bin of supplies. This right here, let's see how many of you recognize it. This is actually a cart for hair supplies, because I was a hairdresser. And so I bought it for that and then ended up not needing it the last place I worked. So I just made it into a supply cart. It does have some hair stuff because I still do my hair and my daughter's hair. But anyway, I won't show you all that. I've got clay stuff down there, all that kind of thing. And then I have this guy. So part of what the stressor for me was in getting orders packed, I'll talk to you for a minute. So part of what stressed me out about getting orders online and then getting them packed was pulling out my printer, because my printer used to live underneath that little table right there, along with the scale on top of it, and I didn't have a good place to keep it out. So I would have to pull everything out, pull the laptop over, connect it on the table, which meant that I had to move whatever was on the table out of the way. And even just the idea of doing that, exhausting. Like the thought process of, I have to move all this stuff, I have to move this out, and then I have to connect this and this, and I have to wait for it to load, and then I'm connected to Pirate Ship, and then I'm connected, and like what should, and to me it's like what should take like 5 minutes is taking 20 minutes, right? ADHD brains don't like that. We don't like that, because our concept of time, like what 5 minutes actually is in the real world, feels way longer to me. Okay, so I have this system now. I'm able to just have the printer on top of, and the scale right next to it. I can just plug it in right there. This is usually plugged in, but I had something else plugged in yesterday. And then I have my supplies. So I can sit here at this table, turn around, grab my supplies. They are super, super organized, right? And I know where everything is, and it's right here and accessible. So I'm not running up and down the stairs, because by the time I get up the stairs, I've forgotten what I'm looking for. And this way I bring my stuff down. All I have to do, I put the laptop on top of here, turn it on, print out whatever I need to print out, and done. So am I rolling? Okay, here we go. One more thing I wanted to share about this, and about having, like, why I think it's important for me to have everything in one spot is, I'm walking with you now. You see me walking across the room. You saw how big the room. It's like basically one big room, right? It's not even that far. Well, I would come over here and let's see. You see this little cabinet right here with all my plants? This is where I had other art supplies before. not terribly bad, right? But like when we moved here, like that's where I had some of my art supplies. I had some things upstairs and I wasn't using a ton of art supplies. I was mostly making jewelry. Um, but like I had painting stuff and oil pastels and some drawing things down here in bins where it was very organized. But there is something about how my brain works that if I just walked from like over here in the kitchen, like you can see it from here, right? From the table, there's my laundry that needs to be folded. From the table over here, I get my paper out over at the bin, put it on the table. Well, then I have to come over here and pull these art supplies out. Well, and then I've got to take them over here and find a place for them, right? To spread out. And then I've got, then I end up with random bins cluttering up the space and I can't handle it. So, because for me visually, when I see all of that stuff everywhere, it's too much. Like it's overstimulating. It's too much for me to look at and I can't get into a place of relaxed, focused creating, right? So this way, everything's in one spot. Everything is easy for me to access and I can just sit down and get creative, right? So, I hope that makes sense. I really feel like ever since I've moved everything over here, I'm able to just like in the mornings, like I grab my coffee, I come over here, I maybe scoot something to the side, have my coffee, hang out for a minute, wake up, and I can get to work. And I can work for like 20 minutes. And that is huge to me. That's huge to me. Or like yesterday, we were out and about in between meeting friends and me working and this and that. And I could come home and I could work on this canvas for a little while. I couldn't do that before. I could have, I had the time and I still had all the stuff. But for me, even just thinking about the process of what needed to be taken out and put somewhere else first, it would make me not want to do it at all. Like I would shut down and just not do it and then feel like crap for not doing it. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. I hope that makes sense to somebody out there and that is helpful. Just my advice, get a set workspace and organize, like super organized, to make it to where you can see exactly where everything is. When you open a drawer, it is organized, it is neat. You don't have to dig for things. You don't have to move stuff to get to something else or to be able to work. That for me, even just like the last, I don't know when I started doing this. What's today? Today's Monday. So like Saturday. So yeah, just the last, I kind of organized last weekend, like maybe 4 days, 3 or 4 days. And I feel more at ease about being able to sit down and organize, even just getting this stuff done for the holiday invitational. I'm like, okay, I know I need to get frames and it's right here and it's in a spot that I'm not going to forget about it. I'm going to see it because there's not 100 other things out. So if that's helpful to you guys, let me know. If you have other tips, let me know. If you are an artist with ADHD and you have some way of organizing or doing things or even figuring out like how to divide your time or set up your time, please let me know. Like leave it in the comments. I am looking for help here too. I'm just giving you what I'm finding is starting to work for me. And I'm curious to know what works for you too. So I hope that's helpful. I will do one more quick video. Probably not today because I have to leave soon, to just kind of share how I've organized my living space, that just tiny little things that have actually really, really helped me. So, all right, you guys, stay creative. I'll be back soon. Bye.